Okay, everybody, hello. This is the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We are broadcasting live tonight in state-of-the-art studios here in Round Rock, Texas, and I'm sitting here with Melinda. Melinda is with Power Consulting and Search, okay? So we're going to talk. We got so much to talk about tonight. Hey, I got the decks cleared really fast. Melinda, welcome.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, whatever the heck that means, that's fine. But for you, anybody listening tonight, you're going to have to listen. But you know what? The cool thing is it's a great accent. Right? and we've got a lot to share tonight. And Melinda, we always like to start our show by welcoming you to the state of Texas on this Round Rock Internet Broadcast Network that's produced and directed by yours truly. I don't have a staff. I don't have producers and executive producers standing behind me. We're simply running this off a computer to the world. And I'll bet you somebody from the NZ is listening. What do you think?
Thanks for having me, Hurdy.
No problem. And let's jump right in. First of all, we weren't making fun of the last name, but you know, you said here in America, the funny thing is nobody cares.
They don't.
About your last name. So if I say introduce yourself, you just go Melinda.
I absolutely do. Everyone just wants to know what your first name is and where you're from. So kia ora.
And that's all they care about, right?
Yep. And kia ora means, I know you asked me that just a short minute ago, kia ora means good life to you. Hello, welcome, have a good journey, success in life. It's Māori for hello.
Yes.
Do you know what a Māori is, Hurdy?
No, I do not.
You don't know what a Māori is?
No.
Do you know how to spell Māori?
No.
Oh, M-A-O-R-I.
Okay.
What about an Aborigine? Do you know where an Aborigine is from?
No.
You don't?
No.
Australia.
There you go.
So Māoris are from New Zealand.
I did know that, but
you
I was
did?
letting you just go on through it because I just wanted to feel like an idiot over here. I really did.
Well, our listeners might enjoy you being an idiot.
I'm just kidding with you. So anyhow, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And, you know, we always want our listeners to get to know our guest. And it's good for you, too, because once the show's over and I get the archive set up for you to put on your website, it also gives the people that are going to come back and listen to this on demand a chance to get to know you through the radio broadcast. So with no further ado, all right, we want to welcome you, but let's talk a little bit about the name of your company, what you're going through, because generally this is where I say give us your website.
Right.
And you are going to have a website.
Right.
But you're changing some names. So let's go through that first. Then we're going to talk about how you came from, where you came from, to how you ended up in Austin, Texas. Is that fair enough? Okay,
yes,
so
absolutely.
Let's talk about the website and what's going on.
Okay, our company name is Power Consulting and Search, LLC. Where did it come from? Well, after being in a CFO position for 10 to 15 years doing accounting and finance, I came to the USA and ended up falling into executive search. Did that for 4 years, then co-founded another company, Executive Recruit Staff. Did that. That was down in California. When the recession hit, we added consulting to it. Then finally I got to Texas because I love Texas. It reminds me of home so much.
Does it really?
Yeah, the people really want to know who you are. And if you know anything about Kiwis, that's a word for people from New Zealand. If you're down there, they'll say, come stay at my house. They will just don't even care where you're from. They're so hospitable. So what happened is I decided in my company when I launched it here in Austin, servicing Texas, is I wanted to bring the New Zealand flavor into here.
Gotcha.
And one of the things about when you consult is you're really passing the power back to the business owners through knowledge and through staffing, getting them the right people in their company. So there was sort of a play on word of power, because Power Consulting and Search, power, P-A-U-A, is actually a shellfish down in New Zealand. And it's a barnacle on the outside, and on the inside you scoop out the fish, you eat it, and then on the inside is like a pearl color, except it's like the rainbow. It's greens and pinks. It's really pretty, and we make so many things out of it. Jewelry and pieces of furniture, add it to the furniture as accenting furniture. It's really beautiful, and it is part of the Māori culture to do that. So power, when I deal with my clients, I give them a gift of power afterwards. And what does that mean? I give them a piece of jewelry or something that is made out of PAUA, power. But really, in effect, when I leave my client, they're back in control and have the power of their business back in their hands.
Okay, so let's go back to that power thing. Okay,
Power shellfish?
let's talk about a power shellfish, because
Yes.
now I'm interested. Okay, so y'all go get these off the bottom
Yep.
on the reefs or wherever, right? You
Correct.
pull them up. Barnacles on the outside. You cut them open.
Yes.
And you eat what's inside. Obviously, it's meat
Abalone,
or something. Okay.
yeah,
and
an
then
abalone.
once you get that out, the inside of that is rainbow-type colored shell that's been just worn from
It's nice
whatever.
and smooth,
It's
very
nice and smooth. So
colorful.
is it pearl-looking?
Yes.
Or, okay. And what kind of stuff do you make out of that?
Things like the jewelry, accenting on
Like
furniture.
necklace stuff
Yes.
or bracelets? Can you do all
Earrings,
that with it? Earrings?
absolutely.
Oh,
It's
cool.
absolutely gorgeous. It's like, it's better, I think, than the actual pearl inside of a pearl shell.
Right.
It's like, well, getting onto things like that, just another special bit of trivia about New Zealand is we have greenstone. And it's, some people call it jade, but the greenstone from New Zealand is only found in the South Island. And you'll see a lot of the Māori carvings are made out of bone or they're made out of greenstone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you do not buy greenstone, you gift it. So like when the Queen came down to New Zealand, we gift her greenstone. And you
Okay.
always gift it on. You do not buy it for yourself. You wait for someone to gift it to you.
And that's it. So you just give it away.
Absolutely.
Now, is this, and we're going to get back to you in a minute, I promise, but now... you've
Talking
got my
abalone?
interest in- Right. So
Google it.
Is this expensive? Is the power, is it expensive?
No, it isn't. In
It's
fact,
just cool looking and it's fun.
It really is. You can break the shell and use the power inside of it, but what a lot of people do is actually the shell itself is about the size of a hand, and they just have it as decoration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really good.
So the power thing that you're tying into your business is part of the gifting. You're gifting the power, which is our word, P-O-W-E-R, but
Correct.
you're putting the P-A-U-A, power,
Yes, we're
right,
actually...
into that. So you're going to be gifting this to clients as part of the tie-in with your branding, correct?
Absolutely. And
What
just
a great idea.
And just because sometimes spelling is difficult here and getting people to remember, Power Consulting and Search is P-O-W-E-R Consulting and A-N-D Search.
Right.
But we give the gift of power, which is P-A-U-A. So it's the play of the words.
Yeah, but it's cool because it relates. They're not going to forget how it all interacts because that's part of your story, obviously, when you're sitting with your clients, right?
And absolutely, and the logo is the same because the logo is the koru, and the koru is a circular with no beginning and no end, and you'll see it on Air New Zealand planes. The koru is K-O-R-U, and our logo is the koru, meaning good life, good journey, rich, wealthness, safety. And it has a piece of power on, and you can actually get that carved just like that, which is another gift for my clients. Is actually the koru, the actual logo of our company is actually can be carved, and it's a great gift, and they can wear it around their neck. The guys in Texas love it. Absolutely do, and they like the bone carvings too, you know, the hook, how New Zealand was fished up from the sea. Absolutely.
Good on, mate. That's the wrong country.
Well, mate, actually,
no, they do. I know, they say that there. I
do.
I understand that completely. Now, let's go back and let folks know, because you are revamping it. Right now, the website's in process, meaning that you're retooling whatever you had to go with Power Consulting and Search. So we want to let folks know it's not up yet, it's under construction, but that doesn't mean you're not in business.
Correct, because one of the biggest things that we found is executive recruit, staff, and consulting. Here's what we found is before the recession, staffing was huge and consulting was doing pretty good, but not as big for our business after the recession and during the recession, because this is where companies really struggled. And I realized from traveling through the USA and going into about 50 companies over a year helping them, I realized the problems were similar. But I realized the consulting was really intertwined with search. If you go in and help somebody get back control of their company or expand it or whatever they're trying to do, it's about people and processes and knowledge, right? So what I find is when I go to consult, almost always we have to get a new person inside. So there's the search factor for the client. On the search side, if you go and interview the client and see what they're wanting from the new person, often you find the problems behind the search,
So
and that's how I discovered
so
consulting.
so what? Yeah, because when you first look at the consulting and the search thing, you're probably thinking, well, how does that relate? But like you just said, and I know this from being around you in some of the network meetings and you talking and going through the, identifying your company to us, is that, hey, look, when I go into companies, I end up finding they need consulting. And when I end up doing the search thing, I find out there's problems going on within it. And so it was just natural for me to start helping them solve those problems with the search and the consulting. Correct? Did I get that?
Absolutely
So
right. Because
I'm right on. I'm right for a change.
Absolutely. Not really. That actually happens. But I'm actually impressed tonight, Herdy. You're getting some things spot on.
Right.
You've done some
Spot
Googling.
on. I like that. Spot on. Yeah.
Spot on, mate.
Spot on, man. Okay, so I want to back up before we get into more detail about your business. This has been a long journey. You've already kind of mentioned the New Zealand and California and to Texas, but let's go back. And you can retro back as far as you want because we want some people to get to know you, right? And that is New Zealand.
Well, yes. When I was young, they did have cars. Did they have cars when you were young, Herdy?
Have cars?
Cars, yeah.
Yeah, they had cars.
They did? Oh, okay. So you go back
I'm
better
not
than me.
that old.
Okay, well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Nice cars when I was growing up. In the United States, we called them muscle cars.
Oh, muscle cars.
Muscle cars, like the Roadrunners and the Challengers and the Dodges and the 427s and the 426s and all those big engines.
Oh, so you were one of those cool guys that had their shirt sleeves up and the arm out the window?
Roadrunners and all the big cars. Yeah, in the 60s, my era was the big, huge engines, the big Corvettes with the big engines. Gas was 15
We are
cents a
so
gallon.
opposite. I was a Catholic girls' school girl with the uniform and everything, and we used to look at those boys in those cars and go, ugh.
Right, okay,
and they used to look at us and go, ugh.
Yeah, well, what about that?
Exactly.
Okay, so what part of New Zealand?
Okay, I'm from Auckland. A little bit about New Zealand because I love to talk about it.
It's beautiful.
We're clean and green and nuclear free. And we are the funny thing about New Zealand is we have about 4 million people. 1.5 million of those are in Auckland. There's 3 islands, the North Island, the South Island, and Stewart Island, which is mainly a bird sanctuary.
Right.
And Auckland is smack almost sort of middle to top of the North Island. The funny trivia that we always have is there's 4 million people, but there's about 90 million sheep.
Really?
Close your mouth. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? How many sheep is that per person? That's a lot of sheep because originally we were primary beef and lamb exports, and now
that's a lot of sheep.
It's a lot of sheep. Australians always make jokes about that, but they have a lot of sheep as well.
They do too, yeah.
They do, and they're not that far away. And of course, now our primary export is probably hospitality, tourism.
Right.
So I grew up in a big family, and I was born to a mother that was the first woman manager of a publicly traded company in New Zealand.
Really?
So that was a hard act to follow.
So you got that.
I did. The first thing I knew, I wanted to move out of home. That was one of my things. And the only way to move out of home
to get
was
away with this.
education.
Get
Because we were in a large family. There were 6 kids. So if you put anything in the refrigerator,
It was gone.
it was gone by the morning.
Right.
And there's always that person, Mr. Nobody.
Brothers or sisters?
1 brother, lucky devil, 5 girls.
Right, so
pretty
you guys
lucky.
were really fighting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you never knew who took it, what was in the refrigerator. It was called Mr. Nobody. My father would always say, so, Mr. Nobody took it again? And we used to look at each other and wonder who it was
And
that
then
took it out of the
nobody could give it away.
Nobody gave it up,
Right,
not even
that's funny.
secretly. So it was really competitive.
That's
And
funny.
I think that's where my spirit came from, and being competitive. So I went straight to school and started with accounting and then went to sales and marketing.
Right.
And then, of course, straight early, by the age of 25, I was controller of a Fortune 500 subsidiary in New Zealand. It was actually called Azia Brown Boveri. They were a Swedish company.
Oh, cool.
So I worked my way up to the point that I was CFO for one of the largest company, Fletcher Challenge, and it was the roofing division, 200 million. And once I got to that, I then moved into Pfizer, and I thought, where else is there to go in New Zealand? I'm kind of capped out here. So I started looking overseas. I'd already lived in Australia.
Okay, and I'm going to make you hold that thought right there.
Oh, okay.
Because believe it or not, we're already at our first break. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We're sitting here with Melinda Le-Compte, and she is with Power Consulting and Search. and we are into what she couldn't believe is how fast the first 15 minutes went. Right? Okay, we're back. Melinda,
Fabulous.
we flew through the first 15 minutes, and we got that you're in New Zealand. You're the CFO.
Yes, and then I was at Pfizer.
In Pfizer.
But I wanted to tell you something.
That's fine.
You've mentioned fly and flew by, and it just made me think. Do you know what a kiwi is?
It's the site that I host the archives on. It's a boat.
It's a boat. It's a boat.
Well, the kiwi was an Australian one of them. Wasn't it the American boat in the big sailboat contest? One of them's called.
You can mean the America's
Okay, you know
World
what a
Cup?
kiwi is? It's a fruit.
Yeah, and also that's very good. It's a very green fruit,
Right,
actually.
and I know that because
high in vitamin
right,
C.
I used to eat them all the time.
What about a kiwi bird?
A kiwi bird, and the site I host my archives on is called kiwi6.com. So I do know what a kiwi is.
Hilarious.
And
I
it's
love
spelled
that.
K-I-W-I.
K1W1.
There you go.
Absolutely.
K1W1.
And
So
it's a
see?
flightless bird,
See?
and it's our national bird.
Belinda's finding out I'm actually pretty smart tonight.
That's true. Okay, so back to the task at hand.
Okay, so your CFO, just to catch
CFO,
everybody up,
and
you're in New Zealand.
Yes, and then I moved to Pfizer.
Okay.
And I ended up being their customer service and operations, like COO for their branch in New Zealand. But then I came to America looking for larger things, and Enron had collapsed. And I went into a recruiting firm and asked them to help me get a job. And they said, why don't you work for us?
Enron, correct. What do you have to do with Enron? Were you a part of that team? Were you
No, I
working for
didn't
them?
realize that. No, I came over
You
here.
came over when that was going on.
The year
okay,
that
so that's how
happened.
we're just putting a timeline on when that'll happen.
Right,
Okay, great.
and I thought, this wasn't a wise decision
Man, look
because
what's
things
happening
were
in
down.
America right now.
But lucky I came to Texas because
Okay.
at least Texas is like different to everywhere else in America, in my opinion.
Right.
It's very, very different. It's like being in a different country. It's like in Australia, Queensland is
Right.
like
No, that
Texas.
is.
Yeah, Queensland says they're first and then Australia
Right.
is second. So I find that Texas reminds me a lot of Down Under, which is great. So I ended up becoming an executive search person, and I found I did all industries. Oil and gas obviously was 80% of it, but I found a passion in the healthcare because I'd worked for Pfizer, and I found a passion in manufacturing because I had 10 years of manufacturing as a CFO. So it was a really good fit, and I found I was really good at it. I was shocked. I'd never been in that kind of role before. I went from arriving in America with my hair in a bun, glasses, corporate suit, dressed like a man because I was always in the boardroom,
Right.
to hair down, eyes lasered, going out there meeting the customers. I'd always been in my office, and it was phenomenal change.
Right.
I almost had a makeover, and it was really, really great actually. And then, of course, I was actually in Houston at the time, did really well, transferred with that company down to California,
Right.
stayed in California, started our own company, co-founded it with 2 other people. Then once my children were in college, I came back to Texas. I'd always heard about Austin. Typical Kiwi, we pack our bags, we just land and see what happens. So for the first time, I found I was single, no kids, and was, you know how they say, wish you were 20 with what you know today?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
it's amazing. The first thing I noticed,
Hindsight, it's what we
put
call
something
that
in the
word
fridge.
America, by the way.
Yep, put something in the fridge and it's there in the morning.
Amazing. No sisters moving over with you to take it over?
I
None?
love my life, and I
No.
realized it was time to go it on my own.
Right.
And Austin is a special little market. Austin is not like Houston. It's not like any market I've been in except for Auckland, New Zealand. People want to know you. You need to build relationships. You need to take the time to build relationships, and it's filled with boutique consulting and search firms.
What do
So,
you mean by boutique consulting?
less than 10 employees.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
that
you're
offer.
talking about from the smaller standpoint.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And all the
We
boutique
have,
firms.
you mix in your New Zealand concept words with your stuff. So
I am.
most people go, boutique consulting, is that like a new buzzword? We got to put that on social networking right now.
Oh, that's funny. Well, down
I'm in a boutique consulting firm.
it sounds very, you know,
It
like
sounds kind of classy
It
and cool
does.
and hip at the
Yeah,
same time,
it
but
does.
I didn't know it meant small, but that's cool.
But
That's why I
here's-
asked.
here's
Because
what-
I'm the host and I can.
I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
Hit him later.
Hit
Okay,
him,
very good.
okay.
So one thing I really like is in New Zealand, you've got all the farmers and they've formed a co-op so that they're bigger together. Well,
Right.
what I find
The
in
power of
Austin,
the group.
that's right, power, P-A-U-A. Good job, Purdy.
Thank you.
So what happens is here, what I love about Austin
Mm-hmm.
is the boutique firms group together. They make relationships with one another. So let's take the search, for example.
All right.
I might have a great job order with a client, but
Mm-hmm.
I cannot find that right candidate. I go out and ask my co-op, i.e. all the little boutique firms that have been here a lot longer than I have,
So
10
you go
plus
door
years.
to door, talk to them, start talking
Build
about what
relationship.
they need. Mm-hmm.
Yep, build relationships with the boutique firms. Call them when I'm having trouble finding that candidate, because don't forget, good executive search consultants are
Right.
very innovative in their search strategies. We can headhunt, we can advertise, we can build relationships, but then there's those secret little methods that we use,
Right.
and that's why people come to us, to
Which
get their
are?
people. I'm not going to tell you.
I
That's
figured
my
that.
secret.
I just thought I'd ask.
Secret
see
of
if I could
success.
catch you but you're not even nervous, so I can't catch you on that tonight. can
No,
I?
no.
All right,
Absolutely
so
not.
now I'm going to interrupt you for a sec. This is where I have fun on my show for a few minutes before we get
Do you want me
back
to sing in Māori?
No, no,
Oh.
no. Well, no, but I am going to ask you some cool questions.
Okay.
And you have to answer these as fast as you can. If you want to explain a little bit, you can. Okay?
Speaking
because
fast
this
is
is
not a
going to lead
problem.
us into the next break.
Good job.
Okay? But the first thing I want to know is favorite color.
My favorite color is forest green.
Yes, and you have green on.
I have
so
green
there
on.
You go. Okay.
Isn't that funny?
Okay, so if you had any kind of band, what is your favorite genre of music? What is if you were to turn on the radio right now, what would you go to? What would be the first thing you go listen to?
I would listen, and I don't know the station. I think it's 93.4 or 94.3 or something like that. It's an Austin station, and they play.
up.
They do, and they play songs a lot the same at the time of day that I listen to, and
Right.
I pick it up at between probably 8 and 10.
Okay.
And I love listening to all the songs that they play on
Okay,
there.
so 93.3 is your genre.
Okay, good.
So
okay.
it's got a whole mix of stuff on it,
Yes,
which
it
I know,
does.
and I would say it's below rock and above bubblegum, so it's probably somewhere in between.
And you can leave it on when you're working, which is what I like.
Which is not, so it's kind of got an easy listening to it too.
It does.
Right? Okay, last concert you ever went to?
Oh my gosh. If I'm talking about really, really huge concert, it would have been, believe it or not, Michael Jackson. I know
Really?
that goes right back.
Okay,
Little
so-
concerts in the park, well,
Right.
that's kind of regular. But the really big one where you go with a group and there's 50,000 people there,
Right.
and it was in New Zealand. So that would
Okay,
be
so that
the
would-
last one.
Okay, so that would have been the last one. Wow, that's cool. Now, 2 children,
Yes.
graduated from college.
No, in college.
In college, so you're supporting.
Pity, I'm
2
not that old.
I
Come
know
on.
you're supporting 2 college.
Very
kids.
driven. I'm very driven.
Now, are they driven like you?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to push my boy a bit, but I find that it was cheaper to actually send them down under. Down under, do you know what
Right,
down under
yeah,
means?
yeah.
Thunder from down under, that
Right,
would be me.
so
it would be cheaper to send them down there,
Right.
but I want them to experience the American way,
Right.
and
So
the
you get
American
mix of both.
lifestyle. They do, yes.
That's awesome.
So it's good.
So they're cool. They're having fun, and they're getting themselves
Do
oriented.
you know that it only takes 3 years to get an undergrad degree? Pretty much everywhere else in
If
the
you
world
went
except
straight
here.
through, I can tell you that I started college in '75, played baseball,
Oh, you
and
did?
I finished in '77. So I finished
You
my 2
fast-tracked.
degrees and my 2 majors in 3 years because I was tutored playing baseball, so it went faster.
Oh, that's
And I was in
cool.
classroom, but I also had really good tutors. Matter of fact, I was probably more educated because you couldn't get away with anything with tutors sitting in front of you on buses all the time.
Because I really recommend, and I say this to candidates all the time, especially the young ones that come straight out of college, if they can do at least 1 year in a different country, I would highly recommend it.
Just to
because
get the cultural differences?
absolutely, because New Zealand moves like a little machine versus a big old elephant. And you've heard that saying, I don't know if you have, but when they tie the elephant to the stake when it's a baby and they put a chain around its ankle and they leave it at the stake. Why is it, Hurdy, when the elephant is full grown and weighs a ton, they put a piece of rope down round its leg to the same stake and it doesn't pull it out?
Because he's trained.
That's right. And we don't want our kids to be like that. We
How
want to
about
get them
dogs?
overseas. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's a
Absolutely.
training technique.
Absolutely.
To keep it from running over little Volkswagens and little Mini Coupes over in
actually,
New Zealand.
A V-Dub was my first
There-
car.
there- exactly.
Yeah, I
All right.
love those V-Dubs.
So we're going to go to the next break, but here's your last question.
Sure.
If I got on an airplane today, went to DFW, scooted into DFW, and took an international flight, and I wanted to go to New Zealand, how much time would I spend on an airplane?
From LA, from LA.
Let's go
It's
from LA.
11 hours direct flight. You have your own movie little theater attached to your
But
seats.
it's 11 hours.
It's 11 hours, but here's what you do, and this is the secret.
Go to Hawaii.
You get 2 meals. You go direct, you get 2 meals. You can watch at least 3 movies and do 6 hours sleep. It leaves at 11 at night, and you're there at 9 o'clock in the morning. That is the way to go. It's not very
because it's
far.
all night flying over the Pacific,
Absolutely.
right? And so you never see daylight
Absolutely.
until you're there.
Absolutely.
Because of the way that the airplane's flying through that. But see,
Yeah.
I would say go to Hawaii, stay for 4 days, then get another flight and go
Why?
down. Why not?
Why? No,
Why
that's
not?
wrong, Hootie. Here's what you do. Here's another tip for all those travellers out there that always say, I've really wanted to go to New Zealand but never have, is you go down to New Zealand, you have your wonderful New Zealand trip, minimum of 2 weeks I would recommend, and then you stop over in Fiji
On the
or
way back.
Tahiti
Fiji would be cool.
or New Caledonia
that would be cool.
or Vanuatu or any one
Yeah.
of the Pacific
Or
Islands. You
just go
stop
to
over
Australia
there
since
and
you're
just
down there anyhow.
Absolutely. If you never know what to go to in the world, start with the 7 wonders of the world. Just pick one and start there when you go to travel.
And for people never traveled there, and we're going to get back to you because we got to go to another break here in a minute.
Oh, really?
All right, 7:30.
Oh, my goodness.
You should take the trip to New Zealand because you guys or anybody that's never been there, pictures don't do it justice.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And the same for Australia.
You know what's a very, very important point before we go to that break? There is nothing that can hurt you. We have no snakes.
No,
we
neither
have no
does-
spiders
that's right.
that can hurt you. The
Right.
biggest thing that could hurt you is probably a bumblebee.
You know, and that's
And
right.
you'd have to
and,
sit
and
on
that's
it.
what they used to say about Hawaii was when you went to Hawaii, you didn't have to worry about climbing through the jungles or going into the back, and because there are no poisonous snakes.
Wow.
Now there's sea snakes, and they're poisonous, but none on the islands. Okay, so if you're snorkeling, watch out. But on land, you're fine. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We'll be right back with Melinda Le-Compte. So we are back, and you asked me at the break. We've covered a lot. The New Zealand thing, to the fishy things, to the sheep things, to the airplane things, to the kids things, to the search thing, to the 30 minutes. I didn't think you'd get this much crap in, but we managed to do it, and it's all good. No,
It's
she's
all
laughing.
good.
It's
That
all
is
good.
pretty funny.
But it's all good. So spot on, right?
Right, absolutely,
Okay.
mate.
Spot on. There you go. All right. So you asked me when you came back because now we need to really get into the nuts and bolts of what you're doing.
Right.
And you wanted to start with the consulting aspect
I
of your
do.
business. So I'm going to let you jump in and take over from here.
Yes, I'd like to take a bit of time to talk about consulting because when a person says they're a consultant, that can mean many things. It can mean that I'm an IT consultant, a business consultant, management consultant, a project consultant. So just to clarify, management consultants go in and work with the owners/managers of a company and turn it around or expand it or whatever it is that the company needs you to do. A project consultant comes in very specifically to do something from start to finish. An IT consultant is the same, as in regards it's all to do with IT. You
Right.
can have an HR consultant. What we are management consultants. And what do? Well, we do anything from business plans, marketing plans, turnaround, restructure, restaffing, restructuring an organization. The company might say, hey, we've been in business a couple of years, we're wanting to expand, we don't have our processes, internal controls, policies and procedures in place.
Whatever that is.
What
and
it
that
is.
includes everything from the handbook to how employees need to do, the rules, the regulations, all the training that should go with it from liability, everything, correct?
It's the order to cash process. From the time somebody comes and buys your product or service, a sale is not a sale until you've got paid the money. So the order to cash process
Is what you're interested in
That's
helping
right,
with.
from the beginning to the end, to make sure that the client gets paid and keeps the money in his or her pocket. So also the company doesn't have to be struggling. Like a lot of the time companies, let me put it this way, I focus on healthcare. At least 80% of my business is healthcare. Why?
Makes sense.
Because why do you go to the doctor? The first thing a doctor says is preventative maintenance. Come and see us once a year, whether it's dental, chiro, whatever it is, for preventive maintenance.
Right.
Don't wait until you get cancer and then come to us. Number one, it's going to cost you a whole lot more and you may not survive it. you know,
True.
or it's going to take a long time
True.
to actually fix you. So that's like a business. If you are a business owner, you should absolutely have someone come into your business, an independent consultant, and look at your business no less than once a year to ensure you don't have cancer growing. A statistic that's pretty sad but true: 50% of companies that have one person in control of everything are non-compliant in at least one area: HR, tax, whatever.
Whatever that is.
And 50% of that 50%, there is either fraud or theft occurring in that business. And fraud and theft is pretty serious because it can be theft of time. People doing 40 hours, but really their work is only 20 hours.
And
Or it could
the
be
company's paying for the 40 hours
That's
because
right.
they don't track the time correctly.
That is exactly right. Or fictitious employees being set up because the controls, if you've got the right internal controls and processes in place, people don't tend to be as dishonest because you deter it. It can be from cameras to just having the right processes. So consulting can be to a company, for us, is always 50 million or less. Not interested in going higher than that. We need them to be able to change. If the client cannot change what they're doing,
Right.
then they're wasting their time and money bringing a business consultant in. So we need clients that want to change, know they've got a little bit of cancer or a little bit of pain or something, and fix it straight away. The great thing about consulting is not like an IT person. A lot of IT people come and fix your computers and then they leave, but they don't tell you how they did it. So you keep having to have them come back and back and back. Whereas a true business/management consultant comes in, does what needs to be done, and also transfers the knowledge to the client like a miniature MBA program. And what's important about that is we want to get in and out as fast as possible. We do not want to stay in there. And the way we know, the moment we know the client is learning, is when they turn around. First of all, step one is they start asking intelligent questions about their business that they never asked before, like, can I have a look at that profit and loss statement? What does this number mean? And then the second one, which I always look forward
If they have
to,
one.
exactly, and always look forward to, is when the client starts managing the consultant. That's how we know the power and control of the company is
back
returning
in the
to the
right
client.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So to simplify what you just said from a Texas standpoint,
Yes.
you would like to teach a company how to fish for themselves as opposed to having somebody go out in a boat and fish for them.
That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, there's more to it. That's simple. I get that.
It's really
but you'd want to train as you go. You want people
Absolutely.
to be educated about their business, and you want them to be able to have their hands on every piece of it so they understand what's going on. I could see where a company gets 10, 20, 30 people, and then it grows into this bigger business. And as it grew, nobody sat down. They just kept growing, but they didn't put the pieces together, you know, because we just didn't have time. We were too busy. We kept growing. And all of a sudden they're big or middle-sized or whatever 50 million is. And all of a sudden everything's out of control. They don't have their human resource packages set up correctly. They haven't been through the different trainings in different departments. Their computer systems aren't talking correctly. Their data's spread out over 5 or different systems. They come in with spreadsheets from 5 different people, right, and try to match it up.
You know the
One
funny
department's
thing?
collecting money. I've got this down.
You have. And you know what the funniest thing that I notice about American business owners? It's really interesting. They don't budget when they have money. They want to budget when they don't have money.
Okay, so that's a
And
pretty
that's
strong,
not right.
That's a pretty strong concept. So budgets are generally thought of in America as something you do when you don't have money. Do you understand? We need to budget, honey, because we are
Right.
working on very little money here. So we need to budget. But when you have it flowing in, there's no budget.
I know.
Because we have so much we don't care.
Isn't that the strangest thing? Because even
That
when a
makes total
company,
sense.
even when a company is making money,
Write that one
if
down.
they he's writing it down. Even if when they're making money, what they don't count is all the money that they leave on the table, all the money they're losing. They don't see it because they're making money. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So what we do is we have
So
a
it's
process.
fallen through some whatever cracks.
Exactly.
Right?
We have this process. What we do is step one, discovery. We analyze your business in the first 1 to 2 days. Okay, the 4 quadrants: sales and marketing, finance and accounting, IT, warehouse purchasing and distribution. And then we analyze it and give feedback to the client. Then the second thing is then we conduct the internal audit, which is documenting the workflows.
Right.
And then number 3 is actually putting it all together, the financial analysis, the budgeting, the cash flow, etc. Giving the tools back to the client on how to manage their company every day on one piece of paper.
And then where it really comes in for you, and now I'm getting it, is that once you've got them in these 4 quadrangles that they're operating. Now,
quadrangles? What's a quadrangle? Can you spell that?
The quadrant. the 4 quadrants, okay?
Good job.
Once you have those
Good
nailed,
job,
that
as we
quadrangle used to be a place in Dallas. It just popped in my head. It was the way it was shaped. It was like an octagon, okay?
An octagon.
All right. So once
Okay.
you have those 4 pieces put together.
Right.
And you've decided that there's people that need to come or people need to go. Well, guess what you had to follow up with?
Great. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
search and the placement.
That's the one.
Bingo.
Absolutely. We call
So
it
it's a natural evolution.
we call it the gap analysis. When we're looking at an organization, we get the owner's vision. It's really important. When you ask somebody what their vision of the company is, often clients will say to make money. Well, everyone goes into business, number one, to make money. Don't be kidded. We make money, right?
Right.
But the thing is that people don't realize is there's a greater vision than that. It could be to, like one of my clients wanted to be able to go to any ball game anywhere in the world. If he could do that, he knew he had reached his vision. And the difference between the vision and the goals is the plan, the business plan.
The action plan.
And so many people don't have a business
The
plan.
action plan.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's really important is businesses is the number 1 retirement vehicle in the United States. You build a business, engineer it. That's right, engineer it for value. What does engineer for value means? Net profit. You get that net profit up and then you sell it when the time is right, and that is your number 1 retirement vehicle. The whole tax system here supports that.
So always, if you're building a business, but you just want to pay your bills, and you just want it to be because you couldn't find a job or something or whatever, that's just a cash flow business. That's a typical 1099 person.
You created
you created it.
You created your own job. That's all you did.
But you're not setting up to sell, because if you die tomorrow, it goes away.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you're saying that a good business needs to have an exit strategy for sale.
Right.
They need to know what the value is. They need to keep up with it and manage it correctly. So if it does go up or is set up for sale, there's no surprises at the end. And that comes from the consulting.
An illustration.
And staying on top of that.
Right.
Right.
And an example, and this is how I illustrate it to a client. You can be a lawnmower and you can go out and mow lawns, and that's great. But then when you get other people to mow lawns with you, you're starting to make a lawn mowing round, which is saleable.
Right.
That's the
Because
difference.
you could have 10 trucks by then and 10 crews, and you're duplicating yourself. So now if you fell over dead, you still have a company of a name on a truck, and somebody can take it over, buy it, and sell it, and be managing the same business.
Excellent. And this is the consulting side of our business. Okay. And a great consultant, if they need help to help the client, goes into their consulting toolbox and pulls out people that they need to come and help. Like, we're not website designers, but if my client needs a new website or doesn't even have one that was working properly, I have to go and open my box, pick out of my network a superb website designer with a superb video person. You wouldn't know anyone, would you, Hurdy?
No, I don't know
Yeah,
anybody.
Hurdy Burke does a great video. And then I introduce them to my client. And that's what's really important about a consultant. And that's what I teach the client. Surround yourself with people that know more than you do, because you're not an expert in every area.
And learn.
That's right. And then the last thing that we do for clients is, once you've got the 4 quadrants, sales and marketing, finance and accounting, IT and supplies.
That's the last thing you do.
That's true. But they're under control. They now need to look at their tax planning. Okay. Like, are they the right entity? All that kind of thing.
Okay, because believe it or not, we're on our last and final break.
Oh,
and, yes,
I don't want to go.
Welcome back to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. That's right. We've been sitting here tonight with Melinda, Le-Compte, and she is with
Power Consulting and Search.
Easy, perfect. Down there, we have packed a lot of information to show tonight, and I want to make sure I give you all the last 7 minutes. So whatever you need to squeeze in, but one thing, let's get it out right now. Contact you.
Oh yes, if you'd like to contact me, my email address is Melinda, Melinda, at power, Power, consulting and search.com, and is spelt out A-N-D.
Yeah.
And I still have a phone number, but we're actually getting a 512 number because
Right.
I'm still on the California number.
Yeah, just give them the email for now,
Yes.
and we'll make sure that that's posted inside the link when we do that. So that's not a big deal. But y'all make sure if you're going to have an archive of the show when it's over. Okay, so you've got a few more things you really want to cover.
I do.
And I'm going to just say, Melinda, what are those things you want us to know?
Great. I wanted to wrap up the consulting side. A typical client for us in consulting is less than 50 million. 80% of our client base is healthcare. That would be medical practitioners, partners, or sole proprietors. Dental clinics, chiro clinics, they're perfect because they are positioned where the owners are an expert in what they do, but not necessarily business. I went to school. I did 12 years of school, 4 degrees. I went to school to study business. They went just as long as me, but they studied medicine. The other 20% is really ad hoc from different companies outside the healthcare industry. Now, one of the other things that we offer in consulting, which is really important, is cost segregation. Cost segregation is relevant to commercial building owners. The IRS says you can depreciate a commercial building one of two ways: straight line depreciation or accelerated depreciation. They highly recommend accelerated depreciation. It is the number one way of deferring tax for commercial building owners, writing their buildings off very quickly. If you want to know more about that and get a free estimate of what kind of money you would get back, then please contact me. Now, on the second side of our business,
Now, that's your accounting background coming in there, too.
It is, absolutely.
So she's not just throwing out pie in the sky stuff. This is what she did.
And
okay.
also,
CFO.
we're a member of...
CFO. That's all I need to say.
That's right.
Not
We're
UFO,
also
CFO.
we're also a member of the Texas CPAs
There
as
you
well,
go.
which
There
is
you go.
really
So,
good.
there you go.
Yeah, love them. Also, of course, a few of the chambers as well. So I love this. Austin's amazing. But we do service the whole of Texas. San Antonio is only 2 hours away. Houston, do a lot of business up there. Dallas from time to time. But we service Texas.
We can be anywhere in 3 hours.
It's fantastic, and I can see
Any
everything
major
along
city.
the way.
In
Absolutely.
The Texaplex.
I know.
We call it the Texaplex.
You know what? I know where to go based on where the outlet malls are.
Right. That's true. No, that's true. And there's one here.
That's right. And
You
the
live
wineries.
right next to it.
And the wineries as well. Absolutely. Round Rock outlets. Absolutely. Now, the other side of our business is executive search. That is why we're called executive search consultants, because if you want to be successful in conducting searches for talent and professionals for companies which they can't find by themselves, you are more successful if you consult with your client. Let me explain this a little bit, Hurdy, is that imagine if you wanted to sell your house. Okay. Well, you could sell your house. There's a great possibility you could, and you'll have to find your own buyers. But imagine if you couldn't. You tried everything and you just couldn't. Well, you're going to hire a real estate professional to sell your house, and you're going to find them a fee. Well, that's when people call us, is they may or may not have tried to find a person for their organization. What do? We do all industries, and we specialize in finance, accounting, audit, tax, CPAs. We also specialize in human resource management, IT, and healthcare professionals. Healthcare professionals is anybody that's a senior or a manager on the end of their title. What's important to know about that is we have a pool of candidates that the client will never find. If you've already got a job, Hurdy, are you going to put your resume out on the internet?
No.
You're not. Absolutely. Plus, we network every single day. I am an expert in staffing. Executive search, because I do it every single day.
Right.
That's how you know you're an expert, if it's something you do every
day.
single day.
Right.
And 95% of the work that we do is on retainer or exclusive. Why? Because I don't like delayed gratification for our people. We have desk recruiters, home-based, because recruiting very much is virtual now since the recession. Sometimes you don't meet the candidate or the client, just due to their location.
Marry them and put them together, right?
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is if you're an executive search consultant with 10 plus years experience and also a specialist in the area, like obviously accounting, finance, IT, healthcare is all my background, it means you don't really need to meet the candidate through the reference checks, background checks, interviewing
all that's done
them.
anyhow.
Absolutely. And also what I like to do is transfer the hiring process knowledge to the client. Not like the IT person that comes and fixes your computer and then leaves. We like to transfer that hiring process. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is being successful and finding that right candidate for that client. And one of the strategies we use is meet and greets, where the client meets 3 to 5 individuals back to back, half an hour each, because you know within the first 60 to 90
You're
seconds.
either getting a good impression or a bad impression, or it's a good fit or it's not a fit.
Absolutely. Then bring them back. Now, one of the things I'd like to help people in Austin, because Austin, a lot of people, it appears to me, in all my networking, which I've done a tremendous amount of it, because that's great about Austin, people love to meet and love to network, is that they very rarely use an agency. And I don't know if it's because it's not a culture here or they just don't know which agency to use. So I spend a lot of time educating professionals, young and seasoned, about how to conduct a search. I know if they're fee placeable. That means I know whether a client cannot find them.
I have an answer to that.
You do? What do
I
you think?
And here's what I think. I think that the career builders, the monsters, and the online services that I've never really heard anybody have success with because they're just built up for advertising. They might have some listings. And I think people think, just like travel agents, that they're better off going online and searching out travel or something when in fact they're still travel agents and that's still the best place to go. I don't think the agencies are spending enough time pushing themselves out there like they used to, and I think they're overwhelmed by the people that start up sites like Daily Austin Jobs or whatever that site may be, and so they're overwhelmed.
That is a very interesting comment.
And
because
it's a smart comment because I am smart.
Yeah, because Herdberg
No,
is
I'm
smart.
just kidding.
But you know what? I think that's a very interesting comment because Austin is unique. And when I do sit at places like Austin Job Seekers, where I volunteer there every Monday,
that's what I was talking about.
exactly,
Right.
I have found that once they know about an agency, that they really get, because this is what they get from an agency. Number one, how many things are free? A candidate does not have to pay anything to an agency to represent them in helping them find a job.
And that's another thing, because there are the agencies out there that put the nice ads up, and then you go in and find out, well, if you have $1,800, we'll rework your resume, and then we'll start placing you. And these people are unemployed, and they're not going to do it. So they don't go because they're just nervous they're going to be sold something.
And that is another type of firm. A career management firm charges a fee to help you use the tools. Figure out who you are and do it. And one of the things that I would just want to help candidates here, if you want to find a good agency, look on the internet and see who's advertising the jobs that you want. Number two, have a good resume. Don't put your education at the bottom. I don't understand people that do that on their resume. There's no point. An executive spends 60 to 90 seconds on average reviewing a resume. Make sure your education is at the top. You don't have to put the years in there, but make sure it's at the top. Also bold anything on your resume that you want captured in those 60 to 90 seconds.
They get their eye.
Absolutely get their eye. Also have 3 titles that you would accept. It's very important that you know the 3 titles that you fit into. And if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up right now, let's say you're just at a crossroad, because sometimes I have candidates that say, I can do everything. Well, we know that clearly is a statement of a person that's not sure what they want to do next. So here's a little hint on how to find that. For 2 weeks, every time you see something that sounds like a good job that you'd love to do, whether qualified or not, cut them out, put them in a shoebox. In 2 weeks' time, open that shoebox, spread them out on the ground, sort them, and it will become very clear to you what you want to be and what you want to do.
So that makes total sense. And
I do make total sense, Hurdy.
Yes, you do.
Did you get that?
Yeah. More than one resume?
A lot of people say that. I say one summary resume, short and sweet. It's a synopsis. It's not everything you've ever done in your life working in burger joints.
I mean, it's pretty standard that you write a cover letter. It's pretty standard you put on nice paper. It's pretty standard that everybody wants electronically today. So how do you overcome the electronic crap and the formats that are bland, that are going in some computer system? How do you send your hard copy stuff?
You call me. You call an agency agency, and we will
you
guide
let
you.
them put you through, because they're the ones that are looking to help marry the candidate with the job. So it's a benefit. It's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference between just posting your stuff on an application online. You have nobody to push you through. You have nobody to separate you, except somebody just maybe gets lucky and gets a call.
Now, the good thing about an agency, a good executive search consultant will be honest with you. The number one thing that they will say is they will comment on your resume. Number two, they will tell you whether they have a chance of placing you. Are you fee placeable? That means, would a client pay a fee and hire you and see the return on their investment come in the first 12 months? If I do not see that we can place that person, they've jumped around their jobs too much, they don't have the right education, it's just difficult, I will tell them. But what I will do is always give them an idea on what to do to keep their search moving forward. The golden rule to remember: if you are not talking to somebody, you are not pushing your search ahead. So if you're sending out 50 resumes and you're not talking to anyone, how closer are you in getting a job? You're not. Bottom line, right? Okay, so it's really important to work with ethical agencies.
So we are right now at the top of the hour.
We are?
We are done.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it.
What's the last thing you want to leave out there on the end of this show? What's the last thing you want to leave with the people that are going to be listening into this archive coming up? What do you want people to do?
If you know somebody that's looking for a new opportunity, I would say put us on your list as one of those agencies that could possibly help them, or move them to a person that could. If you know a business owner that either is doing really well and needs help, interim controllership, etc., or is not doing so well and needs help, contact us. Melinda at powerconsultingandsearch.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome guest. It went as fast as I told you it would, didn't it?
It was so great.
Well, we want to thank everybody for joining the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network tonight. We're going to finish up with little Stevie here for 1 minute before I finish the show out. We'll see you around the corner. We've got a special guest next week that's going to be in the world of Yvonne's world. And so I don't have my notes in front of me, but I promise you next week we have a fantastic guest. And believe me, I got the earphones on. I can't hear anything she's saying. But anyhow, we'll see y'all around the corner next Tuesday night from 7 to 8. And then guess what? A special show next Wednesday night. We're going to meet an expert in the crowdfunding game that's going to come on and talk about crowdfunding, which is a hot new buzzword for getting your business jump-started by having people donate money to get your business started, but you have to give them something back. And we're going to go over those 3 things. Thanks for listening to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We'll see you guys around the corner next week. Have a great evening.